Hi, my name is Bear, and let's start with New World. I usually avoid speaking about well-known MMOs in my channel, but this is a wonderful opportunity to try New World absolutely free. You can play the whole weekend with no charge, and you know, if you have a lot of free time in the next few days, maybe you can feel the true charm of this game. Or, you know, finally make sure that this is garbage. It's up to you. New World has a nice, classless, real-time action combat system. As you progress, you will be able to determine what you want your gameplay experience to be like, and those are just like in any other MMO. You may heal people, play as a tank, or do massive amounts of damage. Although only MMO I ever enjoyed was World of Warcraft, but I must admit that I stopped playing after the third expansion rolled out. Northgard was the last continent I actually enjoyed. But to be honest, after all these years I still have an addiction. If I had a lot of free time, I would be playing it right now. I love it. So the same is with the New World. If time is scarce, even free is not worth it. The Surge 2. On the way to Jericho City, your plane is shut down by a mysterious storm and crash lands in the outskirts. You wake up weeks later in a derelict detention facility inside the city. Armor-clad soldiers enforce martial law. Robots are on a rampage and a dark, expanding nanostorm looms over the cityscape. So, long story short, everything here wants you dead. But you're not some lame, puny peasant. You have your mechanical sword and can beat enemies with it and take their parts and make yourself better in the process. Imagine if in real life some MMA fighters could just take the muscles from their beaten adversaries and absorb them into their bodies, and every time they win they add more and more, until they are like 2 tons of enraged muscle power which can't even stand up because, you know, the gravity. So a new sport, a race of rolling muscle balls would appear. Hairy balls. Imagine that probably already exists in some parallel universe. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I just featured it last week in one of my videos, but now this whole weekend you can play it for free. It was just recently released as a Steam game after a long time of being an Epic exclusive, and now it lacks Steam achievements. That's why a lot of achievement addicts are raging at it and giving it a score of only 61% of positive reviews. Well, I'm lying, that's not all. It also requires you to have an Ubisoft account and it's armed with DRM. But if you can see past all that, the game itself is great. Also, it's free now, it doesn't hurt to try. So here you'll put on the shoes of a legendary Viking warrior on a quest of glory and explore England's dark ages as you raid your enemies, grow your settlement and build your political power. Although it's a nice game, Valhalla is far away from the top predators of the genre, such as Witcher 3 for example, by the quality of the story and characters. Anyway, it will keep you entertained for a few days at least. God of War. Here you will slay the whole pantheon of pre-Viking Norse gods and creatures because you rock and they suck. The PC version has some nice upgrades compared to the PlayStation version. Here you will enjoy true 4K resolution with unlocked frame rates, high resolution shadows, improved screen space reflections, ultra-wide screen support, and so on. The difference will be best understood by people who wear sight correction glasses. The difference between those two game versions is like the difference between your old glasses and brand new ones. The world just becomes more beautiful and you never knew that you even needed that. Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the best open-world games there is, it's hard to argue about that. Here you are an outlaw on the run. With federal agents and the best bounty hunters in the nation massing on your heels, you and your gang must rob, steal and fight your way across a rugged heartland of America in order to survive. The game is serious, but it doesn't take itself seriously. It's full of really funny unexpected events and situations. On the other hand, the story is serious and some of your actions will have serious consequences. Main story will take about 50 hours from your boring life, and all the online content can take 10 times more. You know, those are the same creators as of GTA games, so they know how to pin your attention for a long time, so be sure you have it. Beautiful Desolation. I can honestly say that this is one of the coolest games I have ever played. It may sound silly because this is actually a point-and-click game, but it was made so well I was very impressed during my playthrough and I still am. They wanted to create something original, something different and never seen before, and I can clearly say that they succeeded. I promise that story-wise you never played anything like that. The whole game feels like some wet, surrealistic sci-fi dream of Carl Sagan, with weird characters, weird conversations and weird atmosphere in general that somehow still makes sense. If you have ever read anything crazier by Philip K. Dick, you will understand what I'm talking about. And this game is pure art. But it's hard. Puzzles you have to solve are no joke, so prepare to be mentally humiliated and deal with the fact that your IQ is not as high as you think it is. Immortals: Fenyx Rising. So another Epic exclusive just received a Steam release, and it also has tons of issues. People are talking that the gold content is not available, some have controller issues, and of course it needs you to have an Ubisoft account as well. But in general, this is an amazing title. I bought this game for a full price on the release day, and I can proudly say that this is probably the best game I have played in the year of 2020s. I was expecting nothing from it. It looks childish and colorful, and I don't like any of that. I started to feel that something is a sus with my prejudice when I heard the first joke, which was really good, I'm not gonna spoil it to you. And later I started to realize that the whole game is filled with jokes that I find funny, even in the character creation menu. Fun thing is that during the whole game, gods Zeus and Prometheus are talking in the background about you in the past tense. Like everything you do has already happened. You know, when they say,
"And then he saw a terrible monster."
you can be sure that you will see a terrible monster in a second because it's your story that has already happened, but you don't know how yet. Only gods know. In other words, you have to live the story gods are talking about. So let's hope that they don't say anything like,
"And then he put some pineapples on his potato salad and then some on his pizza as well."
oh, the horror. Although avoid this game if you don't like puzzles. Fenyx Rising is filled with them, but if you like solving puzzles in Skyrim, for example, you will feel right at home here as well. Days Gone. This is an open-world action-adventure game set in a harsh wilderness 2 years after a devastating global pandemic, which has made a lot of zombies out of unlucky humans. You will take control of a bounty hunter trying to find a reason to live in a land surrounded by death. You will scavenge through abandoned settlements for equipment or craft valuable items and weapons, or take your chances with other survivors. Also, as I always say, have you noticed how every single movie, TV show or video game about zombies tries to call them any other name except zombies? Walkers, biters, flesh eaters, crazed ones, infected, creepers, roamers, and so on. Anything except zombies. And in Days Gone, zombies are called freakers. And no, zombie is not a copyrighted word, at least for 30 recent years. And that, although I like this variety, makes no sense because if the zombie apocalypse actually happened, you would call it zombie apocalypse, not freakers apocalypse or walkers apocalypse. That is ridiculous. You know, if you saw a man at night drinking blood from the neck of another human being, you wouldn't say something like,
"Ah, I know what it is. It's a sucky, a red liquid thirster, siphoner, freaky imbiber, a burner in the sun, a necky biter, the drinker of human juices."
you wouldn't say that. Anyway, Days Gone has very positive reviews on Steam, so give it a try. Northgard. This is an RTS game based on Norse mythology in which you play as a clan of Vikings trying to conquer a mysterious newfound continent. In this simple strategy game you will find lots of victory conditions, atmospheric music, changing seasons, and as you can see, pretty nice art design. Also, the game has a decent campaign with a good story. Sadly, Northgard's AI is cheating with infinite resources and manpower, meaning that developers couldn't create really good intelligence that could win against humans on its own. But nevertheless, Northgard is a good RTS game for a few days, or even more, maybe you'll fall in love with it. You know, like a tapeworm falls in love with your guts. Yeah, I'm not the most romantic person, I know. Ancestors' Legacy. This is a real-time strategy game influenced by historical events of the Middle Ages. Ancestors' Legacy combines resource management and base building with large-scale squad-based battles across vast battlefields, all rendered in great detail with Unreal Engine 4. You will experience medieval bloodshed and can enjoy a cinematic action camera that puts you right into the middle of the battle. People on Steam are talking that Ancestors' Legacy is easy to learn and it's like chess. It involves a lot of strategy, so the more you play, the better you become. Also, don't forget that GOG Winter Sale is happening right now. You can click on my affiliate link in the description below and you will get straight into it. Thousands of deals, discounted games and DLCs, it's all there. Or you can pick one of my videos about the sale you're looking at right now. I will help you make up your mind. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and I'll see you next time.
Bye!